Hey, it's Alan Hopgood here from Gold Coast School of Guitar. And if you're an adult learning how to play guitar, chances are you're trying to do songs, but like they're not happening quick enough for you. And there's generally one reason why that is. So in this video, I want to show you a simple way to overcome that. So not only do you play more songs, but also have the ability to retain them up here without the use of the paper. All right, let's have a look at it. As an adult learning how to play guitar, like you want to play songs for fun, and that's the reason why you picked up the guitar in the first place. You're not looking to become a professional musician or anything like that. It's just to sit around the campfire, maybe a backyard barbecue, wherever it may be for you, and play songs and maybe get people to sing along with you. But when you go to learn songs, I'm sure you've gone onto the internet, looked at how to play easy songs for beginners and like have you, or maybe you've gone through a songbook, but chances are you're probably making one of the biggest mistakes that I see adults make all the time, and that is trying to play the whole song from start to finish straight away. And what I mean by that, we see the song and like you got your choruses, you got your verses, whatever they may be in whatever order, and then something hits us like we have this desire to be able to prove that we can do it, and like it's sort of like a look at me, mum, no hands kind of thing. But unfortunately, the experience doesn't really happen, and the reality is totally different to what we imagine. And we keep getting stuck on certain areas. And now this may be a chord change, or it could be a strumming pattern, whatever it may be. But it's still enough to keep throwing us. And as we're going through from start to finish of those songs, we're dreading those places as they come up, and they're in our minds, and we sort of really starting to freak out when they're coming up. And 9 times out of 10, we do stumble over them. All right, so what I suggest is doing something a little bit different, and don't look at the whole song as one, but look at the song in pieces. And what I mean by this is, let's just grab a verse, and like this progression here is just a couple of chords thrown together, and instead of like what we would generally want to do is just play all that all the way through, I want you to first just look at those chords there on the thing, and just perceive, is there any problems areas for you? And what I mean by problem areas, is it a chord change in this case, because we haven't got a strumming pattern just yet, but it could be any one of those chords. You may not even know what a G7 chord is, so there you have to either get on Google or chord app or chord book and look up how to play a G7. So that's step one. And I know that sounds obvious, and it really is, but like sometimes we try and play things and we don't even know what they are first. But that's what I want you to do first. So just chunk the song down basically, and let's pick a verse like we have here and identify what those areas are. Now maybe it is the D to G7, or the G7 back to D. Maybe it's the A to that CG, and that line that you see under the CG there, that is what we call a split measure. So these two chords are played 2 beats each in the same measure. But like, I want you to identify what the problem is, and let's just look at this G7 to D. So before we throw a strumming pattern at it, I want you to break it down even further by just practicing the chord change. All right, get that smooth. Start it off with just one strum every 4 beats, or a strum on every beat as you change between that. Get that chord change happening smoothly, or well on its way to being that, before you throw a strumming pattern at it. Why? Because this way it's not going to overwhelm your brain, and you can concentrate on one thing at a time. So if your hand knows the chord change, when you add the color to it with the strumming pattern, it's not going to be that big of a step for you. All right, so let's look at the strumming pattern for that. All right, so this strumming pattern, we might have down, 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 up, down, 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 up slide. Okay, and what I mean by that is we might grab a D flat before we slide back into the D. All right, so this is your next challenge. You've just worked on the chord change, got that, and now you want to integrate it into the song by just focusing on the strum pattern over these two chords. So what you aim to do is just practice this slowly. So we've chunked it right down now. We're just looking at two chords. We're not looking at the whole song, just two chords. We've chunked it right down. We're going to play it slowly, and we're going to do a lot of repetitions with this. Okay, over and over again until you get that. Now, when you get that and it's comfortable, and that could be at a slow pace or you've taken the tempo up a bit, to teach you how to know how to put this back into the song, you're not going to put this section back into the song and play like the whole verse again. No, what you're going to do is just expand this chunk by one measure. What I mean by that, it could be the G7 before the D, the other G7 there, sorry, leading into the D, or it could be the other D after that D. It doesn't really matter. But what you want to do is just expand what you've just chunked down previously. You got a handle on that, and you're just slightly putting it back into the song just to see if you've got it. And if you don't have it, if you keep marking up the change, for example, it just means that you have to go back and just do that chunk again. All right, just on that G7 to D run through there. All right, so let's have a look at another section here. All right, so let's say it's the C to D, C, G, D section here, as we see in the red bit there. That's our chunk. And of course, we've got a split measure now. The easiest way into this is to actually do just simple down strums on every beat. Not play any sort of strumming pattern through this, just keep it really simple, all right? Because we're still gonna do that D flat there into the D with the slide, but like with over the C and G, you can see that we're just gonna go a down, 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 right, on the G, but like on the beat 4 of the G, sorry, you got to do a down up. So it's got to be down, 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 up, slide. All right. Again, you would just keep working this nice and slowly, plenty of repetitions before adding it back and extending the chunks, like from the A to the C, for example. Okay, and you can keep working this as much as you need, but the whole thing that I suggest going for is trying to get these through with no mistakes like 5 times, okay, which is a good amount for a beginner. It may seem a lot, and you might have to do dozens of repetitions just to get that, but you know, if you can play it through 5 times, you got it. All right, and then what you do is, once you've worked out all your problem areas in that verse, okay, in the verse section there, you just go back and play it all the way through with all the chord changes, all the strumming patterns. All right, and then you can just continue on with the other verses or the choruses, but like look at the chords in there first to see if there is a problem in there for you. There may not be, but chances are, if you're just in that beginner stage, you've been playing less than a year or maybe a little bit longer, chances are these chords and strumming patterns are going to give you a couple of stumbling points, and we want to overcome them. All right, so instead of working through the whole song, right, chunk it down, play it slow, and do repetitions. All right, and that should help you not only get through those problem areas so you have fun playing songs, but because you have chunked it down into bite-sized bits, helps you get off that page of where all those chords, all those lyrics are, and focus on what you do on the guitar and help you retain it. All right, I'll see you in the next video.